We've all been there with cars, like I've had 570, 720 McLaren. I don't know why I did that, but I did. I did. Turn it on. That's it. But if we're gonna drive it on the street, we're gonna at least want to have the horn. Crazy. They scare me. I'm still an adrenaline junkie, so I still need them.
So he's a certified badass is basically what he's saying. I'm here today with Mr. Charlie Ferer, one of the original Fastlane Arizona members. Super excited to be interviewing you today. Excited to dive into your whole story.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. I'm thrilled to be doing one of the videos with you guys.
All right, let's start off with this. What made you want to join Fastlane and be a part of such a cool car club?
I saw you guys when you started in some of the events that I went to, and we met. And I'm like, yeah, Ian's a super solid guy. And I've been through Ferrari Club, Lambo, Ferrari before it was even FCA. We were like Ferrari Owners Club. That was like a long time ago. Still friends with all those guys, and then McLaren. And it's just really tough to find like-minded people that enjoy the passions of exotic cars and driving them and really driving them. So like, track days and things like that. And so, you know, when you informed me that there's an interview process, I'm like, very cool. And then there's a fee involved, which is good because it starts separating everybody else out to the guys that are really wanting to be involved in a club. So that's what originally intrigued me about it.
Absolutely, and we share a lot of common passions, motorcycles being one of them.
Yep.
Have to get out on the track with you at some point.
Yeah,
maybe
hopefully
we'll do
the next
some laps
month.
On his pit bike track and show you how that goes.
Yeah, he's been on the pit bike track before, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, toys for the boys, so to speak.
So what made you want to choose this car? Walk me through the story of this.
Yeah, well, this is a 2019 GT2 RS Club Sport. It's a limited production car by Porsche. They only made 200 of them, and only about 30 to 40 of them made it into the United States. And I'm always looking for cars that actually will appreciate instead of depreciate. We've all been there with cars, like I've had 570, 720 McLaren. Absolutely love the cars, but you know, typically depreciate. So when I had the opportunity, I've been looking for a while for one. This one came up in March of last year, and he was priced a little high, and since the market of the last year has come down a little bit, we actually came to a good agreement on price. It's super rare because this one has only maybe 300 miles on it. So it's really hard to find one of these cars, first of all. There's only one other one for sale in the United States, and that's Max Verstappen's car at Scottsdale Ferrari. They have it's probably priced a little bit more than it should. It's at, I think, $790. And then there's only like 4 other in the world that are for sale right now. So I truly think these cars are gonna be in the $1 million plus range in about 3 to 5 years, just because of how strong Porsche, the people that are passionate about them, push that price. And it is just a rare car. It is a race car, it's not a street legal car. We have driven it to Cars and Coffees and some events with a dealer plate on it, so I have a dealer's license, so you know, we try and push that a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to drive on the street. It is loud because there's no insulation or anything, but it's just a rare car and one that I think we'll appreciate over time.
How is it knowing that you can blow everyone's doors off on a rally, you know?
Yeah, it's just a rough drive. It is a race car, so it's a little bit stiffer suspension, but it is a lot of fun. So it's a little bit faster than a GT2 RS street car. The street version does 2.7, this does 2.5, 0 to 60, for example. It's about 170 pounds lighter, and that's probably why you're seeing a difference. The shifting is a little bit faster, even though it's the same PDK, which makes it unique. It doesn't have a sequential in it. But again, we'll go through the car, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to have.
So would you rather have this out on the track or in the twisties in the mountains with no traffic?
Yeah, track. Yeah, when I drive friends on the track, like we just were at Apex 2 weeks ago, and you know, you really can't explain how the car performs, any race car, until you're in one, and people were like, I didn't think we were gonna make any of the turns. I thought we were gonna die coming into all the turns, because you don't realize how fast they could stop, how fast they could take turns. Even just going from street tires to race slicks makes a big difference with any car. And that's what's so fun about, you know, pulling 2Gs in turns and
yeah. So you did have a Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2.
Yep.
This is a little bit of an upgrade.
Yeah, the Evo 2 is going to be a little bit faster. It's lighter. The Evo 2 is about 2,800 pounds. This one's 3,140. The Evo 2 is 620 horsepower. This is 700 horsepower. So the Evo 2 will be a faster car, but this car is a lot more, it's easier to drive on the limit, and it's a lot easier on your pocketbook for driving. Like the Evo 2, if it's a cold, you have to put it on, hook up your nitrogen, put the air jacks up, let the gearbox warm up before you could even put it in gear. This, you could literally start it in 5 minutes, you're driving without having to wait for really anything from preventing you from putting it in gear. So a big difference from cost from running a Evo 2 or even a GT3 Cup car to this car. And that's one of the nice benefits is for this car as well.
And you got air conditioning, so.
And you have AC, yeah.
It's important in Arizona.
Yeah, we've taken, even like a couple months ago in January, we would take the Evo 2 to like a Cars and Coffee, like Ron's Shop the Vault. And even when it's 60 out, I'm sweating my buns off because you only have these little windows, no air, and you have the motor behind you. And you think, oh, I'll be cool. And no, by 15 minutes into the car and you're already sweating, yeah.
You got no windows on this, so.
No, yep, that's it. It's all built in.
Yeah, the doors are super light, by the way. It's kind of shocking when you first open
all
this,
carbon.
But it's because you got a nice strong roll cage around you.
Yep.
So, how long have you had, cars as a big passion for you? How long ago did you get your first exotic?
Well, probably since I was little. Somewhere within like an hour of my house or something, we were at some event and this person had a Coutage. So probably that started it for me, and I was probably, 12 years old.
That's what every kid had on their wall, right?
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, that's when I started enjoying or looking at least cars and exotics and going, hey, I could tell that would be a passion at that age even. And at that age too, I was into dirt bikes. So like I got my first dirt bike at 12. So, and I had to earn that. My parents were like, no way are we buying you a bike. You have to get it yourself. And they were shocked that I was able to do a paper route and then buy my first dirt bike at 12 on my own. So, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, that's probably where it started. And then my first one was a real exotic, at least for me in the time. I was 27. And I got a 94 348 Spider with like 3,800 miles on it here at Cavallino, which was the only Ferrari dealership in Arizona at the time. And I remember going into the dealership and telling Gary, he still works now at Scottsdale Ferrari, which is just hilarious, a Penske dealer, still in the business. And go in and I'm like, hey, I want this car. I didn't even drive it. And found out what the total is. Hey, I'll be in a couple days with the check. Come back in a couple days later, I'm walking into Cavallino, and here he is driving out of the car and having some dude demo it. And I'm like, hey, Gary, here's the check. And he's like, we'll be right back. We're going to demo the car. I'm like, well, the check's for the car. And he still took it on a demo, which I'm like, all right, cool. But that was my first experience buying and getting my first exotic.
So watching someone else drive it.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck? I haven't even driven it yet. But yeah, it's all good. So him and I still laugh about that. So.
All right, well, speaking of playtime, how about you walk everyone through this magnificent machine right here? Yeah,
well, what's cool with this car and what they did is they lightened it up as much as they could because they obviously had to put a roll cage in it, and that adds a lot of weight. So Porsche was really smart in putting as much carbon bits in it as possible to keep the light, because you want a race car to be light. And this is really a gentleman's car. So a club sport is really made for a gentleman driver. You could race this in an SRO. Porsche Club of America has some race series that you could do as well. But you could take a peek inside. It has the right harnesses, has fuel cell, has a fire retardant system in it. It's pure race car. You had an $8,500 option that you could put a matching seat and harness in it. You really don't see too many of these with a passenger seat in it, so it does have a passenger seat. We're still Caden with Loftus Motorsports, he's going to be putting a race logic and V-Box in it and a radio in it, which will be nice. We did hardwire a radar detector in it, and we are going to put a horn in it. So I already got the Porsche parts for that, because obviously it doesn't come with a horn. But if we're going to drive it on the street, we're going to at least want to have the horn. If you walk around the front here, just like the street car, you would have a trunk where you could put things in it. This is all business, so you can see here a little bit larger intakes for the brake ducts. Radiator, so this actually works to cool off the radiator, but also gives downforce, produces a lot of downforce up front. Your fuel cell. So it still has a gas cap location, but this is not functional. So you use the fuel cell. The GT3 Cup race suspension. The brakes itself have GT3R suspension, so even a little bit better than the GT3 Cup. Because you have a heavier car and 700 horsepower, you just need a lot more stopping power, if that makes sense. As you can see, all carbon. Bigger intakes for everything. The wheels, they're not super big rims compared to like the street car, but you want a little bit more rubber to the road. It's cool that they did all the little carbon bits, which is nice. The passenger area here, it's really not made for passengers, so you do have the battery box where it's easy to get to. I had custom made floor mats, which is pretty funny, made for it. You could get a good shot, maybe B-roll shot of the doors because they're pretty impressive. This is for the Lance, so you could lift the car, so it does have air jacks. This is for water. The GT2 RS street car comes with, I think, a 2-gallon in the trunk. This one has a 7-gallon that's behind here. And this is just for purging if you have air in your lines for the water. And this here, these two buttons here, you can use to spray your rear intercoolers. So as you're going really hard, that water will miss the intercooler, so it'll make them even cooler. And I would say after about 40 minutes, you'll go through 7 gallons if you're hard on the track with the car, where you'll go through that much water to keep the car cool. So, which is pretty cool for usually a twin turbo car, for them to be running cool the whole time. You really have to have some type of system, and Porsche is so particular on making the car perfect. It's just a great way to do that. If we come around to the back of the car, you know, they call these big wing cars. A lot of people collect just big wing Porsche cars, and this is one of them. And they save a lot of weight with the carbon rear bumper. We did a 935 style, which is a one-off custom exhaust that was made by, I think they're called Albert Motorsports or Racing. They're in Germany, they're a race team.
This thing's looking mean back here.
Yeah, yeah, and it came out really good, and it's even blued, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so that just, it didn't save weight, because you'd think with a muffler delete it would save weight, but it doesn't. It just makes it sound better, so.
Sounds very important. I mean, we do it for fun,
But
right?
that's pretty much it. It's gonna be a fun car to have. I'm looking at maybe getting a GT3 Cup car, and with BR Racing, I might be doing a couple races with them this year for Porsche North America Sprint Cup, their Sprint Car Series. And then I do need to get a real street car.
Yeah.
So I might get a GT3 or GT2 RS for a street car. So you can see, yeah, I'm definitely going on the Porsche side instead of the Lambo side. So last year was Lambo, this year is going to be Porsche.
We got a lot of Porsches in fast lanes.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. I mean,
a few GT2 RSs.
Yeah, this year I think we've had a few members buy the 2RSs. It's a really good time to pick those up. I think that's another car that I'll appreciate really well. We have a lot of McLaren owners, like your 600 LT is gorgeous. I mean, we have such a broad spectrum of cars though.
That's what makes it fun though.
Like 48 Pistas and like, yeah, I mean, it's.
Yeah, we got a few Pistas actually.
Yeah.
That's
and
great.
like guys driving like Bentleys on the drives, like, you know, like the Grey Poupon, you know, as we're driving.
Rolls Royce.
Hey, yeah, the Rolls Royce.
Rolling up in style.
So, Yeah, and that's what's so cool about the group, you know? Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So how do you keep your driving skills sharp so that when you show up to the track, you can go, 0 to 100 real quick?
Well, the race simulator, which you have a race simulator too on.
Yeah.
And the race simulator is so much fun because you really get to know the track layout really quick. And we'll do a quick run where I think we're going to compete for lap times. He's really good, by the way, so he's probably been practicing for whatever track. I'm going to let him choose the track. So
Laguna Seca.
Laguna Seca, deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really good because they 3D topo the track. And it's just an easy way to learn the track. And by the time you get to the track, if you're practicing on the sim, you'll really know within 3 laps all your brake zones and everything. So it's pretty cool to use that for practice. So, and it's fun. And we have what's really cool when I joined Porsche, they have through PCA, they have a sim series, race series. And I think there's 800 Porsche club members that are also racing in the series. And they have 4 different level classes. And you have guys that are professional racers on the Porsche team to private people like me that are also racing the Porsche Cup, Porsche Sprint Series, that are also racing the series. So it's pretty fun to see people's names in the race series and know that they're on TV and racing. So it's people really take it seriously, and that's really nice about it as well. So.
All right, well, let's put in some laps and let's see how close I can get to your time.
All right. I have them, and I like the triple screens a lot more because, well, I went this route because I had so many friends getting sick using the VR. So we're and now that I have the VR, it's just easier than wearing a headset, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I have both.
I don't know.
I don't mind. So you guys think I'll be able to get into within 1 second of his lap?
I think so.
Yeah.
You're pretty good at this track.
Yeah, I think if I get under 126, I'll be happy. Let's see how it goes.
Heck yeah, you'll do good. You crush it.
That's so sick.
It was so fun. Yeah.
So, Charlie, I know you have a little small motorcycle collection. Would you care to give us a tour today?
Yeah, I have some in the house, which will probably show some B-roll. And then I have some at my office. And then I used to have almost this whole garage full. And I sold 17 of them last year. But I still have 38 bikes, a couple super bikes. And it started just as a passion. One of my buddies that I used to race with in high school, and he has a son now that they're rebuilding old motocross bikes and then racing them. And he's like, oh my gosh, the market's crazy. You gotta get into this market and rebuild and sell and collect and just ride bikes. And I haven't ridden a motocross bike in ages. And so I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So I bought one, rode it at Motoland, and then I got hooked. And then next thing you know, I'm buying multiple bikes and to what you see now. I didn't start this as an investment. And over the last 3 years, it's been an investment. It's crazy what these bikes are going for. They had a 76 this January, sell for 20 grand. And I picked that up for 4,500 bucks. Yeah. So that's 15 grand already that I'll make on that bike in just 2-3 years. Crazy. CR500s are going bananas right now. I have some I mean, I can't really say names, but there's huge collectors that you guys would know that have hundreds of motorcycles that I've sold bikes to. And it's just been really cool meeting everybody that's sort of like-minded, and you just never know who's out there that collects cars, collects bikes. And that's probably part of the fun of collecting the bikes. So like with FLD, Eric, he's a big gold guy, sells gold, silver, unique coins. I just bought a whole bunch of precious collector coins last week because the market scares me, and so I'm gonna try and be as diverse as possible. So I was gonna sell more bikes this year, but I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to them because I have enough cash sitting on the sidelines. I'd rather just hold on to the bikes right now.
Scarcity drives price.
Yeah. So a couple of bikes, like this is MV Agusta. They only imported 25 this year. This one's a 2016. I only have like 1,300 miles on it. A great bike, unique bike, and I love things that are unique. I love Ducatis as well. Anyway, this is just a fun little bike. A few of us bought these just to do on the track so we could hit elbows and push each other out of the way and not get killed on the bikes when we're on the track for fun. These bikes here, I race these. This is a 86 CR250 and 500 and 83 480 and 250. And I race, that's GP3 class, and this is called D1, which is front disc only class. And it's just a super fun class. A lot of great guys, even their sons are racing. So it's not like crazy where, you know, you still get injured on them, unfortunately, but they're a lot of fun, and I don't know, it keeps me young, I guess. I'm still an adrenaline junkie, so I still need them. And then you'll see some KTMs that I still ride and race over there as well. But like this one here is unique. This is post Chad Reed when he, after he retired, one of his practice bikes that I got, he signed it. The title has his name on it, which is super cool. And I have another one of his bikes as well that I got from his mechanic Lars back in the day. At least all the plastic and stuff too. This is Ricky Carmichael's, same scenario. He retired, he still gets bikes. And this was one of Ricky's bikes, plenty of videos of him riding it with Monster supporting the videos. His practice bike, and just super cool. He even sent me like a thank you video, thanking me for buying the bike through one of my friends, Paul. Let's see here. This is a Tomac replica. If you look into Monster Energy, Eli Tomac, 2005 KX250, you can see a really cool video of him riding a bike similar to this. We built this as like a replica build. Super cool bike. Some older Suzukis, like an 82 RM465, 8250. I ride this one, I don't race it though. It's a 99 KX500. I'm a big bore guy. They scare me, and I'm not super fast on them. But that's why I ride them. So that one's a lot of fun. This was more of an enduro bike. Before I got injured last year, I raced it in one race. So I'm a green plate dude, nothing special. But it's a lot of fun out here. They have a lot of great races. This is a factory edition KTM 450. Factory suspension on it. So pretty cool bike. And then you can tell I'm a big Honda guy. So this is an 80 CR250 Elsinore. What's unique with this one, it has Fox suspension on it.
It's another Chad Reed bike as well?
Yeah, that one I got from Lars. So it's not a factory frame or motor, but it's his factory plastic that he raced on. I'm not sure about all the rest because I don't want to say it is a factory bike because I don't know if the frame is or the motor, but the plastic is. So pretty cool. And then he got me like Reedy's pants over there signed and stuff like that. So 81 CR 450. They weren't the best bike in that year, but just really cool and rare. You don't see too many of them. And then the funny story with the CR 480s, I actually bought 3 in California. One went to my buddy, and this I built as a backup bike. Probably, you know, I don't know why I did that, but I did. I said, hey, I'm rebuilding one, I might as well rebuild 2. I sold this one. So this one, the gentleman hasn't picked up or might be shipping it. So this one sold. Then my 2 race bikes. And then this one I'm not gonna ride. fully rebuilt McGrath replica. And then this is a 97 CR500 that I ride. And again, we're back to the 500s. A couple cool bikes too. This is 76 Elsinore CR250. You can see how small they were back in the day, which is pretty crazy. And again, these are doing really good for resale value. And then that's really unique. Johnny at the Ride Shop built that. Johnny used to be a mechanic for Kawasaki back in the KX500 days. And it's a KTM with the KX500 motor. Super fun bike to ride. And yeah, just some of the toys we have here.
So the ultimate question, if you can only keep one, which one's staying?
Ugh. To be honest, I love my KTM 450, but that would probably be the stupidest one to have because you could pretty much build that today. So probably my 86 CR500. That one's a lot of fun to ride. And just hard to find ones that are that clean. And that's probably it, just because that's a personal one for me. The other ones, the 70s bikes, you know, was way older. That wasn't really my years of riding, so, but they're probably worth more, but that one's probably the one I'd keep.
Awesome, I love it. This one is incredible. This is probably the sexiest looking bike out of all of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, you know, the Italians know how to do it right, and just the engineering, single swing arm, you know, the livery on it, I just think they've crushed it. Has the Öhlins rear shock, Öhlins internals for the forks. It's just a cool build.
It's almost if Lamborghini like manifested itself into a street bike.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So those aggressive lines, it's awesome.
Yep, I agree. Very cool.
Shall we take a look at your pit bike track?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get you on a bike.
Alrighty, let's do it.
Then all up.
All up?
Yep.
And so it doesn't go down?
When you downshift, but there's no first gear down. You know how usually it's one down
so it's
and
all up?
Yep.
And then what happens when you put it in first gear? Like, well, there's no.
Yeah, you're just gonna go up. Yeah, so it's like an auto clutch.
All right. Yeah. Well, whenever
we'll see you over there.
Yeah. It's always fun.
Yeah, we always have a good time here.
So we just had some fun ripping around your pit bike track, but now
awesome.
We're to the point where this is what the audience has been waiting for, the GT2 RS Club Sport Cold Start. Let's see it.
It's not super impressive because it's a turbo car, so it's not crazy loud, but it does sound good. Yeah, this is the unfun part of owning a race car.
Yeah, so when you roll up to Dominic's, they probably want you to park it.
Yeah.
So walk us through this boot up procedure.
And this is important also for McLaren owners even. In all my McLarens, I've never had any issues for starting, but I always let the computer turn on. So you always want to have your dash fully turned on. And that's the same for any modern car these days. So especially in McLarens, you'll want to always have everything turned on, because if you try and start your car before the computer's fully up, that's usually when you start having errors or codes with your car. So always try to get it fully up and running. So we always wait for the dash to turn on. So you got to turn on the power in this car first, and then turn the key. Once the dash comes on, then literally, which is rare for a race car, it has a key. Turn it on. That's it. Easy. We ran that track without the full straight, so we had the bus stop, so 145 before the bus stop, which is pretty good. So, but not crazy fast. I've been faster on the highway with it than at the racetrack so far.
No turns on the highway.
No turns on the highway, yep.
All right, well, thank you so much.
You got it, brother. Always a pleasure, you know that.